Hello, everyone. Welcome back. This episode, we are going to dive in deep into talking about taking time to be grateful. All right? Here we go. Take time to be grateful. Recently, I've been catching myself more exhausted physically and mentally. Since the middle of January, I have been working at least 35 to 50 hours a week at my job. When I'm working on my podcast. If I'm not working on my podcast, I'm rehearsing lines for my acting class or recording self tapes for auditions. If I'm not doing that, then I have to keep updated with my movie and TV review TikTok account because even though it's small, it's still important to me. After all that, if somehow I manage to have some free time, I've been choosing to hang out with my friends because, as most 22-year-olds, I would like to have a social life. I was doing a pretty good job with balancing everything, but at the end of February, I went on an 8-day trip to New Orleans to celebrate Mardi Gras. Afterwards, things just became more chaotic because I was avoiding a bunch of my responsibilities for 8 days and it all just came rushing at me all at once. I was overwhelmed. But I just focused and continued doing the same thing that I was doing before the trip. It wouldn't be as bad, but it was a lot more work. And I was still trying to maintain a social life. And at the same time, I was speaking to a girl and I was giving a lot of my energy to her. Things didn't work out with her. But honestly, I was okay because I was so overwhelmed with everything else in my life, it felt like a bit of a relief when we ended things. However, I'm still extremely stressed and trying to work hard on the things that I listed because I know it would help me become successful in the industries that I'm trying to break into. But the thing with hard work is that you hope that you get the results you want. And right now, I'm kind of struggling with the fact that I'm not getting the instant gratification, especially when it comes to the podcast, because that takes a lot of social media work, which I'm used to, but with social media comes an algorithm that loosely is based on luck. I know I'm not going to blow up overnight, but I was hoping that I would be growing a little bit more than I have been. I can say the same with my movie and TV review TikTok account. For a couple of months, every video would gain at least 2 to 4 followers, but now I'm lucky if I even get one. Thankfully, the views are still pretty good on that account, but I was hoping that I would be growing a little bit more, so I'll have to figure out a new thing to add to my content in order for me to grow even more. I also am trying this new thing with my podcast, so gaining traction might also be slow right now. And as most actors in the industry, sometimes you have dry spells. But unfortunately, for me, it's happening at the same time when I'm struggling with the growth of my podcast and social media accounts. I'm working 35 to 50 hours a week at the job that I'm only at because it's flexible with my life. I'm a part time manager at a fast food place, which means that I'm also dealing with a lot of crazy customers, and it can be really draining overall. This has been going on for 3 months. I haven't been seeing a lot of growth in any aspects of my life. I also haven't really been taking time for myself because I've been so busy. I've been noticing that in the morning it's been a bit harder to get out of bed. At first, I thought it was because I was physically exhausted, but then this week I realized it's more because I feel like I'm burning myself out. I'm trying not to focus on the instant gratification with the things that I'm working on, but it's hard when you've been putting in so much work and have been receiving little reward and acknowledgement. Typically, my mind is racing 1,000 miles an hour because I have so much to do, but this week I just feel like there's a gray cloud in my head that is making me not want to do anything. And with this gray cloud in my thoughts, I started to think, is it even all worth it? Will I actually succeed if I continue? Thankfully, it was time for my monthly therapy appointment, and thank God for her because she made me realize that I just have to take time to take care of myself. As well, I shouldn't be in love with the result that could be, I should be in love with the process because I genuinely love doing what I'm doing. Which is true because I love this podcast because I get to look back in a year and see where I was. I love doing movie and TV reviews because it connects me with people who love the same movie and shows that I do. I love taking these acting classes and auditioning because I love the art of acting and how I get to express myself in a whole new way every time I get a new script. I've also learned in therapy that in times where you're saying, I wish this happened, or I wish this had a different result, or if you're just focusing on the future an overwhelming amount, you should practice gratitude. Take a moment and take a big deep breath and acknowledge how much you have done and how much you have grown. So I did exactly that. After therapy, I went in my car and took a big deep breath and realized I've done a lot and completed a lot of my goals. I've realized that I have grown a lot from a year ago and how 1 year ago Mario would do anything to be in the position that I was in today. I also was appreciating other things like how my friends and family really support me in all my endeavors and how I'm blessed to have a roof over my head. So, what I've learned is that yes, all this hard work that I'm doing for everything is absolutely worth it. I just have to stay passionate, disciplined, consistent, and grateful. All right. So yeah, this honestly, this past month, ever since I got back from New Orleans, I've been in this like I feel like I've been falling into this weird funk, and I'm just trying to catch myself from getting to like a dark place. And thankfully, with the help of my therapist and finally taking some time for myself, I realized that I just haven't taken care of me mentally and emotionally. I feel like so much has occurred in the past 3 months at the same time while I'm doing all of this, and it can be really exhausting, you know? I think like what made me really overwhelmed with the thought that I won't succeed and the not getting instant gratification is for a while I felt like I've been behind in life from a lot of my other friends, and I really shouldn't be focusing on them so much because like the comparison is the thief to joy in life. But comparing with them isn't going to do anything because the elements that they have in life are just also different, you know? I don't think a lot of 22-year-olds are getting engaged right now. I don't think a lot of 22-year-olds are also even moving out of their parents' home. I think that I see so much success and I really just want to be a part of that. And I feel like I know if I've been given the opportunity that I can really make that success grow. And because of the feeling of being left behind while doing all of this, is it's just been overwhelming. And that's why in today's episode I really wanted to show what I've learned, because it's been a month long at this point. The time of recording is March 25th, you know, and I've been feeling like this for like a month, and I've been just really overwhelmed, and I've been thinking, is it all worth it? And it is, because a year from now, I get to see so much growth again, you know? And one of the biggest things is that I started doing this because I was genuinely passionate for doing this podcast or taking those acting classes, you know? I don't want to be obsessed over the result that could be. I want to be obsessed with the process and fall in love with the process, because that's what's going to make, you know, my life more enjoyable, you know, and that's going to be the gratification that I'm going to look back on, you know, like, yes, I succeeded, but how did I get there, you know? And I think that's like a really important thing. I saw something with Dochi. Um, she was talking about in one of her vlogs that she has to continue grinding and she has to create whatever wants to be created, you know, and just keep pushing and do whatever. And I just can't give up because I have a bad day. Or for her, it was she would stop writing a song just because she didn't like it. And because the beginning of the song she didn't like, she would just give up on the song. But she can't do that. She just has to keep going and she just has to keep posting, you know what I mean? And I think that with this, I've grown a little bit because, one, a year ago, Mario would have a whole mental breakdown. And I think I handled myself pretty well, where I was holding myself accountable to a lot of the things that were happening, right? I also caught myself before I fell into this very dark mindset of not being good enough. And I feel like a lot of the times that is the case for people my age, because you're just trying to make it right now, you know? But if you continue doing it, you will succeed. You just have to be the four things that I said at the end of the passage that I wrote. You just have to stay passionate, because with the passion, you'll be able to stay disciplined. And with the discipline, you'll be able to be consistent, you know? And with all of that, you'll be able to really be able to grow. You know, you'll be able to grow and you'll be able to see yourself from above. You know what I mean? You're going to be from the top and you're going to look back at the bottom and be like, that's where I started, you know? And with that, you also have to be grateful because taking in everything and being grateful, even if it's small things like, thank goodness for this parking spot. Thank goodness the stranger was nice to me. Thank goodness that traffic was slow, you know? Practicing gratitude is a great way for you to just appreciate the value of being alive. You can appreciate where you are, and then you can see with that mindset, you'll have a more positive attitude, to have like a more positive aura, and you will have essentially a better life because you are seeing a different perspective instead of the negative one that you've been having, you know? And it's hard to catch yourself sometimes, you know? It is hard to catch yourself because it can be an overwhelming dark cloud in your mind after you feel like you've been failing, but you haven't been failing. You've just been working hard to succeed, and it's just going to take some time. Just because you didn't get the result that you wanted now doesn't mean you won't get it later. But also, I'm a big believer that everything happens for a reason. So I believe that even if it like didn't happen or you didn't get what you wanted, that doesn't mean you won't be able to achieve greatness in other ways, you know? So yeah, I just wanted to share that because it was a very overwhelming feeling, and I that was honestly what was on my mind this week. I wanted to, I hope that you guys have been enjoying my new method of doing the episodes where I write down my thoughts, and because a big aspect of this podcast for me, if you read the bio, is it's a video slash audio diary, and I really enjoy this because this actually makes me more excited to do this because I feel like there's more substance and I feel like there's more ability to growth. More ability to grow. And even when I'm writing this, I feel like this is very therapeutic, like writing in a journal. You're able to just look at like what you said, and reflect on it while you're even writing it. So I can't wait for like a year from now. I see this, maybe going through the same thing at the same time again, like this time of the year, and just be like, you've gone through it, you know what to do. Just remind yourself and you'll be okay, and I hope that you guys can relate to it. I hope that it helps you a little bit because I know sometimes when you're like, I wish, or just like overly thinking about the future, sometimes you just forget to be present, and to enjoy the moment that you're currently in. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you so much. Please subscribe. Please check out my other accounts. I'm so grateful for all of you for who are listening. We are slowly growing. We're not growing crazy fast, but that's okay. I love the process. I love doing this, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Okay.